Well, I'm taking one of my tomatoes and going to put it into a bigger pot. It's not quite ready weather-wise to take and put it outside. There we go. Okay. Don't get dirt on the floor. Now I just put enough dirt to keep the bottom filled with dirt. And then when I take this, I'll turn this over, disturbing the roots as least as possible. And then I will add dirt around this even more. Okay, take some more potting soil here, and I will fill that up, round it the best I can. Give it a good start here. And of course, tomato is one of the few that you want to plant deeper than the root system. Put the stem in under the dirt, because roots will come out of that stem and make a stronger, healthier, powerful plant to produce more food for you. And that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. With that in mind, though, there's a few other tricks I do. I'll get that in there pretty well. I think that's pretty close. Pretty close to where I want it right now. And then, of course, as it grows, I'll add dirt clear up to about a half or 3/4 of an inch from the top. Another thing I do is I have these, it's just simply heavy-duty string. Now I'll bore them down in there, like so, then close them up and bore them down in there, both ends. No big deal. And the purpose of that is it will filter water down in there. Wick it in, if you will. This is some of the ways I do it. You may have a better way, but this is one of the ways I found works pretty darn good. And never hurts to put a few extra in. Push them deep down in there. That string, the water that you do pour on the top, if it doesn't get soaked in there, you know, these string will draw it down into the root system as well. This is one of the ways, and one of the tomato plants that I've grown here in the end of April. We're trying to get a decent crop for this coming year. Last year we got drought out. The year before we got hailed out. So this will be the first good crop in 3 years if we get one. And we're doing all we can to make it happen. Again, the idea is to make your dollar do the work of 100 rich man dollars. Because they don't care what they spend. But you need to stretch your dollars out. These are some of the ways I do it. And this pot, I got it at a yard sale for $2. And it will last a good 10 years. And I also put plastic around it through the summer to help the heat doesn't damage the plastic and or overheat it. A lot of the plants catch the devil simply because they get too hot and they dry out too quickly. A plastic bag around that will stop a lot of that problem. Another thing you might want to consider in the wintertime is to put it in shade. Don't leave it just sitting out in the sun all winter, because it'll deteriorate this. If you take care of this pot, it can last a long time and make it only on a yearly basis, only, you know, costing you maybe 10 or 20 cents over the span of its life, which isn't bad at all. But if you go to the store and you pay $10 or $15 for it and it shells out in, you know, 3 to 5 years, that's a pretty deep hole to dig out of when you're trying to save money and make your garden pay its own way. Another thing that I like, I picked one up years ago. I don't ever see them used, unfortunately, but this is probably 20 years old and still works perfectly well. It's set up for moisture, light, and pH. But when you're doing any kind of gardening in a pot, or even for flowers, whatever you might be growing, this is invaluable, because most of the plants get beat up real bad simply because pots can dry out and you need more water to be able to grow something in a container. But when you shove that in there, I've just put that in there so it's still showing a little bit on the dry side. Once this water soaks in here, it'll come up some, to say the least. But this is gives you the ability, if you can see that, it's just starting to register. But this is the kind of thing you need to be able, there, when I got into the plant itself, you can see that it had plenty of water yet. And that's what it's all about. It tells you there's no guesswork. And anytime you can get rid of guesswork, or gosh and by golly, or a pinch of this and a dab of that, you get a little bit more exact, and science can help you in little items like this. I think it cost me $10, again 20 years ago. I assume they're probably $20 now. Who knows what they'll run. But they're well worth it to own something like that. Or if you don't have one, don't want to buy one, I bet one of your buddies has one that you could borrow. Well worth it if you're going to do any kind of container gardening. It's McCook's Mr. Bill. Rate this film.